Part 1. Night Shift. My name is Sarah. For 12 years I worked as an emergency medic in Tehran. I've seen almost everything. Car crashes, overdoses, heart attacks, apartment fires, stabbings. If you work the night shift in this city long enough, not much surprises you anymore. I grew up on jinn stories, of course, my grandmother reciting Ayat al-Kursi before bed, a famous verse from the Quran that Muslims believe protects them from harm. My uncles whispering about things in the desert after too much tea. But to me, it was just culture, stories, superstition. At least, that's what I thought, until one winter night in 2016, on a shift that made me leave the ambulance for good. We got the call around 2:15 a.m. Possible domestic incident, male, 40s, unresponsive. Location, old apartment block near Behesht Zara Road. For anyone who doesn't know, Behesht Zara is the main cemetery of Tehran, kilometers of graves in the south of the city. Just hearing that name on night shift always put a weight in my chest. The dispatcher sounded uneasy. She repeated the address twice, like she wanted to be absolutely sure. My partner that night was also my husband, Majid. We'd been working together for years. I was checking supplies in the back when he slid the door open. "Come on, Sarah," he said. "One more call. Maybe then we'll actually sleep." I laughed. "You say that every night." If I had known this would be my last real call, maybe I would have listened to that tiny voice in the back of my mind that whispered, "Don't go." But medics go. That's what we do. We always go. Part 2. The building. The address took us to the edge of the city, where Tehran starts dissolving into empty lots, half-finished buildings, and the long road that leads toward the cemetery. The apartment block looked abandoned even in the dark. The entrance light was dead. Half the windows were broken or patched with cardboard. A stray dog watched us from across the street, tail tucked tight under its body. Majid frowned. "You sure this is the place?" I checked the form. Yeah, building 23A, 5th floor, unit 18. Male unconscious, possible head trauma. "Who called?" he asked. I scanned the sheet. No name, just says, "Anonymous landline." He muttered a curse under his breath. We grabbed the monitor, the medical bag, oxygen, and went in. The stairwell smelled like damp concrete, stale cigarettes, and something else. A faint, burnt plastic smell that clung to the back of my throat. The whole building felt wrong. Too quiet. Most normal buildings have a kind of background noise. TVs, plumbing, distant voices, a baby crying somewhere. This one had nothing. Just the echo of our footsteps and the slow creak of the metal rail every time we touched it. On the 3rd floor, a single fluorescent tube flickered, buzzing like a dying insect. "This place feels cursed," Majid muttered. "Shut up," I said, though I felt it too. "We're almost done." We kept climbing. Part 3. The door with the sticker. 5th floor, unit 18. The door was old, swollen wood, paint peeling off in layers. Deep scratches surrounded the handle, like someone had tried to claw their way in. Or out. On the frame was a small faded sticker, "Ya Zara," a devotional phrase calling on Fatima Zara, the daughter of the Prophet Muhammad, often used in Shia households as spiritual protection. Someone had once believed this door needed protecting. I knocked. "Emergency medical services? Hello?" Nothing. I knocked again, louder. "Ambulance! Did someone call for help?" Something creaked inside. A slow, heavy sound,
like a single bare foot dragging across the floorboards. Then a voice, barely above a, "Come in." I looked at Majid. He raised an eyebrow and mouthed, "Let's go." I turned the knob. It wasn't locked. The door opened with a long, painful groan. The smell hit me first. Not rot, not garbage. Dust. Metal. Something like old blood that had been cleaned, but never really left. The apartment was almost completely dark. Only a faint orange glow spilled from a room at the end of a narrow hallway. "Hello?" I called. "Sir? Ma'am? We're from EMS. We got a call from this address." The voice came again, from down the hallway. "In here." It sounded male, but the tone was off, flat, like it was copying human speech rather than truly speaking. The hairs on my arm stood up. Majid nudged me gently. "Come on, in and out," he whispered. We stepped inside.
Part 4. Lines of Salt. The main room felt frozen. Not quite dirty, not really lived in either. 2 plates on the floor with dried food, long abandoned. A chair knocked over once, then carefully stood back upright. Curtains nailed shut with rusty tacks. No TV, no photos, no decorations. Just emptiness, and that thin orange light breathing at the end of the hallway. Our footsteps crunched on something. I shone my small flashlight down. Salt. Thin lines of salt traced in broken circles around each doorway. Doorways to other rooms, the bathroom, and the hall itself. Majid noticed it too. "Old superstition," he whispered. "Protection, right?" "Yeah," I said, but my throat was dry. The air felt heavier with each step toward the end of the hallway, like walking deeper into water. The voice floated out again. "Hurry." Part 5. The Man on the Floor. The orange light came from a bare bulb on the floor in the last room. No lampshade, wires exposed. In the middle of the room lay a man. He was on his side, back toward us, one arm folded beneath him, bare feet on cold tile. I dropped straight into medic mode. "Sir, can you hear me?" I called sharply. No response. I knelt beside him, medical bag at my feet. He wore an old sweater, stretched and torn at the sleeves. His hair was greasy, matted. His neck was twisted just enough to look wrong. I reached out and touched his shoulder. His skin felt off. Not quite warm, not quite cold. Like meat left too long on a counter. "Sir, can you respond to me?" I repeated, louder. Nothing. I gently rolled him onto his back, and my stomach lurching. His face looked like it had been pressed inward. Not hit, not cut. Crushed. His nose flattened, cheekbones caved, lips split. His eyes were swollen shut under bruised, purple lids. But here's the part that made my skin crawl. There was almost no fresh blood, just dried traces around his nostrils and ears. "Oh my God," I whispered. Behind me, Majid muttered a prayer under his breath. We're medics. We don't scare easily at injuries. But this didn't look like any normal trauma. "We need a pulse," I said, forcing my training to kick in. I put 2 fingers to his neck, a faint, thready beat. Alive. "He's got a pulse," I said. "Weak, but there." That's when his chest rose, a slow, raspy inhale, then another. His mouth opened slightly. Something inside the ruined shape of his face shifted. A sound came out. Not a groan, not a word. A rough, hissing vibration, like air being pushed through a cracked pipe. "We need to move him to the stretcher, now," I said. Majid didn't move. "Sarah," he whispered. "He made that noise before we came in." "What?" "When we were still at the door. Same sound, like he knew we were here." I ignored the chill that crawled down my back. "Help me on 3, I said. 1, 2, the man's hand shot up and grabbed my wrist. Hard. Harder than any half-dead man should have been able to. I gasped. His hand felt wrong, too. Fingers too long, knuckles bending under the skin like something was moving inside them. His swollen face turned toward me. His sealed eyelids twitched. Then, in a voice like dry leaves crushed in someone's palm, he whispered, "Sarah." My name. I never told him my name. No one in that apartment did. My mouth went dry. "Let go," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "We're taking you to the hospital. Do you understand? Let go of my hand." His grip tightened. I felt my wrist bones grind. "Too late," he hissed. And then, every light in the apartment went out. Part 6. A dark that felt alive. The darkness that fell wasn't normal. It didn't feel like when you simply turn off a lamp. It felt thick, almost physical. I heard Majid curse behind me. "Power cut," he said, his voice shaking. "Use your flashlight." My free hand fumbled for the small torch clipped to my belt. The man's grip was still locked around my wrist, iron hard. "Majid, get his hand off me," I said. Silence. "Majid?" Nothing. No breathing. No movement. Just the microscopic tick of that hot orange bulb cooling on the floor. My fingers finally found the flashlight. I switched it on and almost dropped it. The man on the floor was staring at me. His eyelids had split open, not lifted, not blinked. Split, like soft clay being torn apart. Underneath, no eyeballs. Just 2 deep, smooth black holes that didn't reflect my light. They swallowed it. His mouth stretched wider into something you might call a smile, if it didn't feel so completely wrong. "You came," he whispered. I yanked my wrist back with everything I had. His fingernails skidded across my skin, then slipped free. I scrambled backward, flashlight shaking. "Majid, we're leaving, now!" I pointed the beam at the doorway. Empty. Majid wasn't there. My heart slammed against my ribs. "Majid?" I called louder. No answer. From somewhere deeper in the apartment, footsteps. Bare feet on tile. Slow. Heavy. Coming closer. Part 7. The wrong voice. I staggered into the hallway, flashlight beam jerking across the walls. "Majid, if you're messing with me, I swear to God!" The beam caught something on the wall near the room's doorway. 3 fresh scratches. Deep, parallel grooves carved into the plaster, white dust still crumbling down. They hadn't been there before. More footsteps. Closer. Not behind me. Ahead. Toward the entrance. The flashlight flickered. I smacked it with my palm. The light steadied. I turned back toward the room. The man was no longer lying down. He was sitting upright. I hadn't seen him move. One moment he'd been on the floor. The next,
sitting, head tilted too far to one side, like his neck had lost the rule book for human anatomy. His empty black sockets were fixed on me. My throat tightened. "How are you?" He raised a hand, fingers unfolding like spider legs. Then he spoke again, perfectly clear this time. No struggle, no distortion. But the voice wasn't his. It was mine. Exactly mine. Same tone, same pronunciation, same rhythm. "Leave, Majid," it said in my voice. My whole body went cold. For a second, I couldn't feel my fingers. Then footsteps again from the entrance, fast this time. I did the one thing I hate admitting. I ran. I left him on the floor. I sprinted down the hallway, flashlight bouncing, shadows stretching tall on the walls like they were chasing me.
Part 8. Something on the other side. The apartment door was wide open now. We had left it half closed when we came in. The stairwell outside was just as dark, my flashlight the only real light. "Majid!" I yelled, my voice bouncing through concrete. Something moved below, fast, coming up the stairs. I couldn't see it clearly, just the sense of height and speed, and something wrong in the way it climbed. I stepped back and slammed the apartment door shut. The footsteps stopped right outside. For a moment, there was nothing. Then, 3 knocks, slow, deliberate, on the door I'd just closed. I held my breath. 3 more knocks. Then a voice, Majid's voice. "Sarah, open the door. It's me." Relief hit me so hard it was almost painful. "Where did you go? Why did you leave me inside?" His voice came again, but a little too flat, like it was playing through bad speakers. "I fell down the stairs. My leg is hurt. I can't move. Open the door." I reached for the handle, then stopped. If he had fallen down the stairs, I would have heard it. The crash, the shout, something. But I hadn't heard anything when the lights went out. A memory surfaced, my grandmother's voice, greater than, "If something calls you from behind a door or a wall and uses a voice you know, don't trust it. Ask it to say what it should not know." My hand was still on the knob. "Majid," I said slowly, "what's my mother's name?" Silence. Too long. Then, "You're joking! Open the door! I'm hurt!" The tone was wrong now, impatient, a little too sharp. My chest tightened. "What's my mother's name?" I repeated. Silence again. Then, the voice laughed. Quiet at first, then sharper, like dry leaves snapping. Not Majid's laugh. Something using it like a mask. The doorknob twisted hard in my hand. Once, twice, then stopped. Something slid down the other side of the door. Nails, maybe. Fingers. Scratching slowly down the wood to the floor. Part 9. Leaving the dead building. I don't know how long I stood there, back pressed against the wall, flashlight beam trembling on the door. Eventually, a different sound broke through, a real shout from farther away. "Sarah, where are you?" Majid, the real one. I knew instantly. His voice came from below, echoing up the stairwell. I'm in the apartment," I managed to answer. "Unit 18. "What? Get out of there!" he yelled. "I've been outside checking the windows. I saw lights flicker, but I never went in. Your phone is off." A cold wave ran through my whole body. "You weren't inside," I whispered. "No! I was calling you from the street. Get out, now!" That was all I needed. I pulled the door open. The hallway was empty. No shadows, no footprints. Just cracked walls and that single buzzing fluorescent tube far away. I ran, down the stairs, skipping as many steps as I could, one hand on the wall, fighting the urge to look up in case something leaned over the railing. On the second floor landing, Majid appeared, sweaty, breathing hard, pale. He grabbed my shoulders. "Where were you?" he demanded. I opened my mouth, but another thought cut through. "If you were outside," I said slowly, "who called the ambulance?" He stared at me. "What are you talking about?" "The call," I said. "Dispatch said anonymous, but the number had to come from somewhere." He shook his head. "Ask them later," he said. "We're leaving." For once, I didn't argue. We got into the ambulance. I didn't look back at Building 23A. Part 10. The number. Back at the station, I went straight to the dispatch office. The operator who'd sent us there was still on duty. "Hey," I said, trying to sound casual. "That call near Behesht Zara, you still have the log?" She typed quickly. "Yeah, 0215, male unconscious. You two took it. You didn't transport, did he refuse?" I swallowed. "Who called it in?" She frowned. "Looks like a landline. No caller ID name." "From where?" I insisted. She turned the monitor so I could see. The number listed. The landline registered to Unit 18, Building 23A. "So the call came from inside the apartment?" I asked. "Yeah," she said. "Sometimes that happens. Why? Did he prank you or something?" "Something like that," I muttered. I went home at 8 a.m. and slept with every light on, or tried to, because there was one more detail I couldn't explain away. As I washed my hands, I noticed bruises around my right wrist. 5 oval marks, like fingerprints, like something had gripped me just a little too tightly. I told myself it was from lifting the patient. For a while, I believed it. Part 11. When it found my walls. 3 weeks passed. I avoided that neighborhood. Anytime a call came close to that road leading toward the cemetery, I found some excuse, paperwork, inventory, anything. One night around 1:30 a.m., I was at home. Small apartment in South Tehran. Thin walls, old plumbing, constant noise from the street. The TV flickered in the corner, some late-night show I wasn't watching. Suddenly, the screen went black. No power cut. The lamp beside me was still on. Just the TV. Dead. I sighed, picked up the remote. Before I could press anything, 3 knocks. From behind the wall my couch was against. Not the door, not the window, the wall. Slow, deliberate. My blood ran cold. The TV turned back on by itself, not to a channel. Static. Thick, white noise hissing across the room. Under all that noise, a shape began to form. Dark patches on the screen gathering like smoke. It felt like someone staring at me from inside the television. Somewhere inside the static, a voice began to push through. Faint, distorted. Sa-ra. My name. I shot to my feet. The knocks came again, harder, right behind where my head had been resting minutes before. I backed away, heart pounding. On the screen, the swirling static thickened until I could clearly see it. A silhouette, tall, head tilted to the side at that same unnatural angle. And where the eyes should be, 2 black holes, just like the man on the floor. The voice came again, clearer this time, layered with that same dry, scraping tone. "You left before we finished." Knocks echoed again, now from the ceiling, then from the wall next to the door. It was like something was moving through the concrete, trying different surfaces, testing them. searching for a way in. I grabbed my keys, ran out of the apartment, and spent the rest of the night sleeping in a chair at the EMS station. I never spent another full night alone in that place. Part 12. What I believe now. Within a month, I moved. New building, different part of the city. I never told my family the real reason. Majid is the only one who knows the full story, and even he thinks my mind added details. Maybe he's right. Maybe stress warped the memory. But there are things I can't dismiss. The fingerprint bruises that appeared on my wrist 3 separate times after that night, always in the same place. The way my TV or phone sometimes flickers at 2:15 a.m., the exact time that first call came in. And what I saw 2 years later. I was driving past that area on my day off. Curiosity got the better of me. I slowed near the turnoff by the cemetery road, expecting to see building 23A, but it wasn't there. In its place was an empty lot. No debris, no scaffolding, just bare ground. I asked a shopkeeper nearby what happened to the building. He shrugged. "They tore it down," he said. "Too many problems. People didn't like living there. Said the walls made noises at night." "Did anyone die there?" I asked. He looked at me for a long time, then said quietly, "Some buildings die before the people do." I still don't know exactly what I met that night. Was it a jinn? A being made of smokeless fire like the religious texts say, bound to old places people have forgotten? Or something else entirely? Something that wears human bodies like clothing, learns our voices, calls for help just to bring us closer. What I do know is this. A phone call came from an apartment that should have been empty. A man with a crushed face knew my name without hearing it. Something tried to use my husband's voice through a closed door. And 3 weeks later, whatever lived in that building knew exactly which wall my couch was against. People ask why I left emergency medicine. I tell them I was burned out, and that's true. But the real reason is simple. When you answer calls for a living, you start to believe every voice asking for help is human. Now I know, some of them aren't. And some things that call for help aren't trying to be saved. They're trying to get in.